Daredevil Born Again, episode 7. We're going to talk about this, and we're late. It was on last night, but Warner Brothers was doing their slate, but it wasn't much of a slate, and I don't mean to hate. I should be grateful that people watched, but they didn't say anything new at all, and I was kind of like, yo, what's going on, James Gunn? Talk about Superman, talk about Southern Rock, where's all the other stuff? Phase Hero. This is technically episode 50 on the podcast, and that includes interviews and other things. All up, this is the 50th episode of Phase Hero on the podcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging with us. And this is your Daredevil Born Again, episode 7, review and discussion, full of spoilers. I'm BD, joined today by Jamie Jurack.
Good morning. Back in the AM. Just the way I don't like it.
We got Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody. Happy 50th episode and happy, being back mid-morning. It doesn't feel right talking about this show while it's light out. Like, this does not feel right.
You know, if there was an episode to talk about while it's light out, though, it's probably this one.
That is true.
We got Aaron Perrine.
Yeah. Cinemax vibes are rolling. That was weird. Weird time. We'll get into it.
This is Daredevil Born Again, episode 7, breakdown, review, discussion. We're going to go reactions. We're going to run through it. We're going to give it a 10 score at the end. I encourage everybody in the comments to do that as well. If you're somehow discovering this for the first time, because I've been streaming throughout CinemaCon, this is Phase Hero, everybody. This is a podcast where we talk mostly about Marvel and DC, but pretty much anything else that we're interested in it. We consider ourselves the target audience, so if we like it, chances are you at least give a little bit of a shoot. So today it's all about Daredevil Born Again. By the way, Daredevil Director Debrief with David Boyd is available now. It's a shorter one. I ran long on the previous episode with him, so I had to cut this one a little bit shorter. Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson are coming for episodes 8 and 9. Episode 8 is my favorite of the whole season, so very excited about that. Jamie, let's go around. Reaction to Daredevil Born Again, episode 7. What did you think?
Yeah. I liked it. I thought it was good. I wasn't as jazzed as I was last week. I thought both episodes last week were better than this one, but there was a lot of good stuff in this one. I'm really surprised that certain characters are already dead. I know we're talking a lot about spoilers, but just in case, I'm giving it a tease. I have mixed feelings about Heather as a character in general. I just feel like they're already saying I love you to each other. I don't know. I think that's more for us so that we care about her than that. I don't believe it. But the fight was cool. I really like Angela. I really hope that we see more of her in just the MCU. And I thought it was good.
Jenna, what'd you think?
It's so interesting. Last week we were talking about like episodes that advance the central plot versus just our vibes and just our episodes of television. I feel like this was such a advancing the plot kind of episode. Like there were barely any scenes that didn't have to do with the central set piece of Muse versus Daredevil, which like I admire them for doing that, and it still was a really interesting episode. But I agree with Jamie, like there are other episodes this season that I think I loved a little bit more and that felt more complete to me, but I still liked a lot of what was in the episode. The action was insane, the gore was insane, especially in like broad daylight. Like it's wild to see. And the ending, when we get to it, thoroughly laughed at the ending. I thought that was very, very well executed.
Thank you, Buck. Aaron, you're muted.
No, you're muted.
You're still muted. I'll go ahead when there we go.
Oh, okay. It's not over yet. Still more violence to come. Dear God. It's
that's why you like it, right? That's why you tune in.
I know, right? That's why I'm tuning in. Oh, read this from Scott. It's more important than me talking about.
Wow, Scott.
Wow.
Episode 50 love. Scott Autry, congrats on episode 50. So glad you guys made this and kept this going and built this community. Let's go. Thank you for the $99.99 super chat, Scott. I'll drink a white monster to that. Wow. Jeez. W's in the chat for Scott, everybody. W Scott.
Seriously.
I want to see a million W Scotts in the chat. Thank you so much, Scott. And to everybody, I mean, just the stream I did last night, like people were supporting that. I think all of us were a little scared when we left the old job, got into this uncharted territory, and we're glad to be chatting and yapping on here. BD would drink White Monster. That's right. I do drink White Monster. We're all doing our thing. I do stuff on the channel. Jenna's channel is freaking killing it. Everybody's still active. Everybody's still going. Free space, Aaron. Good work. Jamie's about to go to Star Wars Celebration. Did you know she went to D23? Like everybody's doing stuff. Thank you, Scott. Look at these W Scotts popping up. Wow. Also, phasehero.com. You guys can order T-shirts too if you're trying. Like I'm pretty sure Scott already ordered everything. But thank you guys. Anyway, my thoughts on Daredevil Morning in episode 7. I really do agree with what you said, Jamie and Jenna. I think for the events of this episode, it's something that I felt like we should have liked more. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
This is the big Muse showdown. This is Daredevil emerging, finally fighting in broad daylight. The stakes with Heather, all this stuff. Felt like an episode that has all the right things on paper to be like the big episode. But it doesn't feel like that. It's just fine. Oh, we should have made a Phase Hero chair like the Avengers do.
We still can.
Not too late.
Yeah.
The I love you thing, I didn't even catch that the first time I watched it. I rewatched it this morning. And I was like, wait a second. They're already on I love you? But if you're doing that in the shower, kids, you're supposed to love each other very much. So just so we're clear.
I saw a tweet that was like, I love that this episode aired on April Fool's Day because like Matt Murdock saying I love you to somebody just feels like an April Fool's joke in and of itself. Because like that man is a player.
This man walked into what was that? I don't even know what the legal, that room he was in. Last week with Sophia, and Sophia was like, Matt Murdock. It's like, bro, that couldn't have been that old of a fling if she's still eyeing you up like that, fella. And now you love Heather. But Matt pulls, man. Matt pulls. I saw a TikTok the other day about Matt Murdock always gets hot girls. Like, it is true. Matt's girlfriends are always hot. But the TikTok was like, how does he always know they're hot? And
it's like the Ray thing. Have you ever seen Ray?
The what?
The movie Ray, where Jamie Foxx plays Ray. He like feels they're rich, and that's how Ray can tell.
But the TikTok said that Matt knows women are hot because he's stealing all the women from Foggy because he can tell by the pulse that Foggy gets more nervous around hot girls. So that's how he can tell that they're hot. I was like, damn! Matt Murdock is the villain of the friendship.
Even like later in the episode when he's like feeling the paint and like trying to register that like, oh, Heather is the person that Muse is going after. I was like, he could pull, because I was like, how is he actually looking at these like this art? But yeah, the texture was what sealed it for him. Jamie has so many
a little far. When he did that boat tour, I looked at each other and went, okay, that's a stretch.
Well,
I don't know about that one.
Matt's powers in comics and in the show have allowed him to do so. Like he can like hear colors.
Yeah.
Like, but the fact that like the credit that that's giving to Muse, that those like that was a little globs of paint in all sorts of directions, that he's doing the like whatever the equivalent of his sonar is through touch to put it together as Heather's face. Good callback. I see what they did. It was effective, but I was like, hold on a second. Wait a second. I know this is a superhero, but we have to draw the line somewhere.
If we don't get a ghost illusion in season 2, we riot.
Oh,
Swayze demands it.
yes.
All right, so those are our reactions. We all seem kind of mid, just okay. Not the best episode, not the worst episode. Fine, whatever. Let's run through the episode itself, and we'll get to our 10 scores, some Easter eggs and stuff. Episode starts out, Fisk pissed off to hear that Angela was saved by Daredevil, possibly also a little frightened, I think. But then that culminates with him, I think, having an immediate flashback to Matt whooping his ass in that apartment back at the end of season 3. But then it ends with him saying he's back, which I think is not only a reference to Matt Murdock and Daredevil, but also like Kingpin is coming back, right? He's talking to himself there.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think that, but I like that.
Yeah, because I just think it's a parallel journey, and it's almost like he's seeking permission to embrace his Kingpin side. He's seeking that reason. And Vanessa gives him one later in this episode too, but we'll get to that. And he also calls back to the previous events of the previous Daredevil show, and he says that he through Kingpin tinted lenses, I'd say, to Buck. And I think Buck knows that. I think Buck Cashman, who is Bullet in the comics and is not a good guy, clearly, as we see in this episode as well, is down for the mob. And, he talks about how there was blue-collar millionaires, and then they were taken out on a rampage by Daredevil after Kingpin was unjustly arrested. So I think this kind of also fills in the blanks on what Matt was doing after season 3, which I think is cool. He was going after Kingpin's people one by one.
I do just want to say, because like the whole read of like he's back in the Kingpin of it all, I think I view their dynamic very similar to like Batman and Joker, of like they need each other. Like if one of them gets like removed from the equation, then like the other one is going to be miserable. And like we saw it in the episodes before when he's beating Adam up in the basement, like he wants to get back to that side of him. And I think now that Daredevil is fully back, he feels like, oh, I have permission to just like go sicko mode and just enjoy it the entire time.
Sicko mode reference.
I like the Batman Joker comparison because I was thinking last night, I was like, why doesn't he just out Matt? He knows it's Matt. and I know that in like season 3 of Daredevil, Matt threatened him to like, punish Vanessa. But like, they haven't mentioned that in this show at all. So who even knows if you're watching this show, you don't know that. So I do like that idea that they kind of the yin and yang thing.
Yeah. Matt and Heather very quickly went from a great I love you relationship to spiraling out of control quite quickly. Matt says that this feels fake. Matt is having a conversation with the audience here and himself more than Heather. This is fully a reference to not my work life and my relationship with you, my Daredevil side that you don't know about. And he's saying this feels fake. And he says he's trying really hard to fight it, which we know he's trying to fight off his darker half, which was alluded to in the first episode when he sat down with Kingpin. But then she, goes full therapist. It's not a fight, it's a process. So, their relationship, I think, moved at an accelerated pace for the sake of stakes. That's my read on that. Like we just kind of said.
Absolutely.
Matt, by the way, wearing a cross necklace in the shower. I'm pretty sure, Jamie, you wanted references to the original Daredevil series and his mom. His mom gave him that necklace. So, and he's still wearing it. I think that's the same necklace. It could just be.
Yeah, I want mom. I want to see some mom. I really like her. I feel like she's just a good actress. I just want to see more of her.
Does she know? I don't think Heather has even a hint of knowing that Matt is Daredevil.
Which is wild when we get to like the end of the episode and he's like kind of comforting her and says her name. I would think at that moment you would immediately start to get suspicious. And like she kind of does, but like I would think that would confirm my theory if I heard
That's
it.
what happened with
Bleeding
Frank.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what happened with Frank Castle, though. Heard Matt saying his name as Daredevil and then heard him in the courtroom and put it together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Frank Castle was not like bleeding out, dying, and a victim of Muse. What else we got here? Angela still alive, recalls Muse. Matt is playing dumb. He's not very good at playing dumb. These people are all buying it. But I really think that it doesn't matter. This is not Clark Kent with Superman glasses. This is a blind man who is able to whoop people's ass and track down criminals. So I really think this man could come to you, look you in the face and say, I'm him. I'm Daredevil. And you'd be like, shut up, Matt. So the suspicions would be so hard to come by, I think.
That's literally the bit from the comics. He wears a Christmas sweater to a Christmas party that just says, I'm not Daredevil in big font, because it's like no one's going to believe that he would ever be Daredevil. I know we've also talked about it in the past of like Charlie is so good as Matt of like really hamming up being blind and like tripping over stuff and dropping his cane and doing whatever. So it's like he is covering his tracks in a way that like, nobody's going to suspect him.
Yeah.
And when people do find out that he is Daredevil, they always think he's lying about being blind. That's their first thought. Is like, have you been like, are you Julie Louis-Dreyfus in Arrested Development? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Sean said she said she heard Daredevil say her name after saving her. I'm guessing she will figure it out. I think it's going to come back. Obviously, I obviously think there's a reason that happened. Wilson says so many questions. They aren't about the episode. LOL. I guess I'm new here. Wilson, if you got questions about Daredevil, drop them in. We'll address them towards the end of the show. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for the shout. Then Matt again tells Angela when she says the cops aren't going to do anything about Muse. He says if they don't, somebody will. Obviously referencing himself as Daredevil. He's just like not even trying to hide it anymore. He's just not even trying to hide it. This dude wants to beat up criminals so bad. I get it. That's what I go out at night and I beat up criminals. It's just I wear a latex suit. It's my wrestling persona. That's my version of being Daredevil. I just imagine everyone else's Muse. Vanessa and Luca, they seem to be scheming against Wilson in this episode because Luca basically is questioning her, saying things were better when you were in charge. Vanessa seems to agree, but doesn't say it, and shows an unwavering loyalty through her words. And then he says, we're not earning like we used to. Did tracksuits exist back in the original Daredevil series? No.
I feel like a precursor to them did, though, because I remember Echo's dad is in the tracksuits and then dies like earlier in her life. So I don't know, maybe like some version of it, but not on the level that they are in Hawkeye and in this show, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like they weren't named until Hawkeye, at least.
Yeah.
Jamie?
Get Funko would ask this question, which is Vanessa like, trying to kill her husband, or is she setting up the guy? And I can't decide if I have an answer to
Let's
that.
cut to it. Let's have that chat. Let's have that discussion. So at the end of the episode, we see, in my opinion, my favorite moment of the episode. Kingpin is out, Goodfellas style, Godfather style, having dinner in Brooklyn. And Vanessa sends a text, 32 Withers Street. He's alone. Luca goes over there to kill Kingpin. Bang! Buck shoots him in the face. Kingpin survives, keeps eating his meat. Call Vanessa. Ask her if she would like anything for dessert. Is that Kingpin saying, let her know I survived and I know she did this shit? Or is that Kingpin saying, all right, Vanessa, we good. I know you. We just did the mission we came up with together. Jamie, what are you thinking?
Well, you know what I want it to be. I want them to be in sync with each other. But I do worry because it all comes down to these meals, right? He's clogging his arteries in real time, and that makes me concerned that they are not on the same page. But until I know for sure, I will keep rooting for the two of them to have their happily ever after, which to me is either dying together or being in like joint prisons or something like that.
Just like his and hers prison cells.
Yeah.
I'm so torn because like I'm really flip-flopping on whether or not he knows that she's in on it or they're all conspiring together to try to get like Luca off of the playing field. Because it's like that, I think that's what makes their relationship so good and so intriguing is that like we don't really have a definitive answer and we can interpret it both different ways. And just again, D'Onofrio sells that moment so brilliantly. Like nobody else that I can think of as an actor who's working right now could really like make that moment hit and like get a chuckle out of me the way that he definitely did.
Aaron?
I think that they are in cahoots, but this is like weird flirting.
Yeah.
like, you married this very dangerous woman, so of course we're just gonna have weird death threats that I avoid, and then send you like, what was it, tuna whatever, like afterwards, be like, oh yeah, I see you. You know what I mean? I think also the episode kind of leans that way with the way that they characterize Daniel as well, where everybody thinks he's just an idiot. And I laughed because I thought this was gonna happen when they introduced him, and everybody was like, oh, I like this kid because he's just like a goofball. And I'm just like, there's always a little bit more complexity underlying just, oh, I'm just a silly little guy. Don't mind me. He's gonna end up, he's sitting in his chair for a reason. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of that there with Vanessa too, I feel like.
For
Was
Vanessa,
just me, or was the kid's accent getting thicker? I was like 2 seconds away from you going, "Gabagool!" Like, I thought
He is
really
like,
got thicker.
there's a bit in the when they're out at the bar where he like fully feels like his father, like he is fully just being James Gandolfini, and like this scene had moments of that too, of like I am just seeing his cadence, his accent, his everything kind of like shine through. It also does fit the character that he's like putting it on a little bit more than he did previously, but I'm loving seeing like the baby Tony Soprano fully take flight.
I didn't know Wanda had another kid. The accent goes in and out, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Listen,
Gabagool.
being from Jersey, when I visit my family, it comes out more than it does when I'm here. So it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I see Vanessa as a win-win in that situation. I think she's not super in love with this version of Ken. And she's not in love with this version of Wilson. She loves criminal, power-hungry, powerful Kingpin Wilson. So this is either, well, he dies, or this is the trigger point, quite literally, to turn him back into the version that I want to be married to and be doing business with as well. Also, by the way, that restaurant, 32 Wither Street, is the real address of Bamonte's restaurant, which is a real Italian restaurant with real-life mob ties. If you do a Google search, you'll find this. It's described as the heart of what was once Italian immigrant stronghold. For decades, the restaurant was a well-known mob hangout. After Carmine Galante's murder by hired mafia guns in 1979, members of the five families held court in Bamonte's to celebrate.
Wow.
So it was also in The Sopranos. So if the real life mob wasn't enough for you, The Sopranos did it. So there you go. Kingpin is a true good fella. So yeah, I honestly might go to this place and take a picture in Kingpin's seat this weekend just because.
Hell yeah.
Why not, bro? If they'll let me in. But yeah, no, that's the real address of it too. Like they didn't even change the address in the text message.
Wow.
Found that interesting. I love that "thank you, Buck" line. Like, I think Vincent's talking as Kingpin is funny.
Yes.
Bastion Cooper is Muse. This is already different from the comics because we never learn Muse's backstory, name, any of that stuff in comics. He also doesn't get killed in comics. He lights himself on fire because he doesn't want to get captured. So he does die, but it's very different. First, Muse, I don't really care that he died. I never expected him to be the main villain of this show, but I do think they should have done more to plant seeds for him up to this point. That would have been better. I never needed him to go on past this, but there should have been more leading up to this, in my opinion, to make it work. He was in episode 1 or 2 back real quickly, getting that book from Heather. He was the weird, approach to her, became her client in therapy, and then all of a sudden it went from a little bit weird to full on Muse in the same episode.
I almost wonder if that's a
Good.
side effect of retooling the show. And if it is, like, I'll take that feeling a little rushed over like any other narrative structural problems that this show could have. Like, I definitely agree with you. I wish that it had been slow burned even more than it already was, or that we had gotten him until like a next episode or something. And because you can tell the writings on the wall of the corrupt cops are the big bad of the show. Like that feels like the direction that we're heading in. And I'm still in awe that that's where we're headed. But I fully expected Muse to be there a little bit longer until we got to that point.
We all knew that the kid was going to be Muse. Like as soon as I need help from you. So everyone in our chat kept saying it. It was obvious. And I'm really surprised they went from that to like, you helped me so much, now I'm going to kill you. There's something missing there. And that's why I think ultimately this whole showdown wasn't what we all kind of want. It was a good showdown, but we had no connection. Like, we don't know what their therapy sessions have been like. We're not totally buying that Matt's in love with this woman. It just, we needed a few more episodes, but that's the old streaming life for you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it all on that. Also, this is one of my character defects. I rarely care that much about the villains. I just don't care. It's weird, unless why would I be attached to this little killer when there's a long form version of it running on Netflix right now that everybody's watching? Like, who cares? I just, you market the show on Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox, and that's where we were gonna go. That's always where it was gonna lead. Okay. And I mean, also, if I'm to be honest, visually, isn't young Bullseye more visually arresting than Muse on screen? And everybody loves old Netflix Daredevil, so bringing him back is a better thing. I know some people really have like favorite runs from the comics, and when these villains don't last as long, it kind of like rubs people the wrong way. But I don't know. Maybe I just haven't found the right one yet. I like it's a strange thing. This happens so much. I don't agree, Wilson Mac, but I've heard more about what's coming / whatever from different corners, and I feel like you'll be fine. Especially if you have opposite viewing taste to me, you're going to be just fine with episodes 8 and 9.
8 is phenomenal. Yeah, 8's phenomenal. When episode 8 ends, you're gonna be like, I wish I could press play on 9 right now. But yeah, I'm with you guys on Muse. Muse is not Kingpin. It's not Thanos. It's not Loki. Muse is not a massive villain in comics, but is a much cooler villain in comics than in this show. I'll say that.
When they talk about, can I just do quick digression? Like when people say that they want Hush to be the villain of the Batman 2, you're probably like me. That's like, that sounds like a good idea, but is it really?
As someone who has watched Hush be on like Batwoman and other like Bat adjacent adaptations, I agree with you. Like, it's a matter of long form comic storytelling versus what you can tell in a couple episodes or in a single movie. It's the same thing as the Brand New Day discourse that's happening right now. Brand New Day was a year-long publishing initiative, and now the title is going to fit a 2.5 hour long movie. It's completely different like metrics through which to weigh the story.
Yeah. And well, Muse is gone. Heather, though, Heather's the one who shot Muse. I saw a discourse saying, she said, why is Matt being saved by Heather? First of all, I didn't see it that way at all. No. I saw Heather as reacting to a threat, not knowing that that's Matt. Matt is showing a bit of restraint, but getting closer and closer to crossing his own code because he pierced him with that baton harpoon already. And he loves this woman. So we've seen what he does when people he loves are threatened. So yeah, I didn't see it as that. I didn't have a problem with her shooting Muse, but I do think that's going to have lasting impacts on Heather going forward.
That's a cool narrative choice. Like, for a therapist to like shoot their patient, that's gotta mess you up. Yeah. And I wish I cared more about her. I don't want her to die though, because I just like, Matt doesn't need that. Because even if he doesn't love her, if she does, even if he cares about her, even if he's not in love with her, which I don't believe he is, but like, even if she were to die, he's gonna carry that. He's Mr. Catholic Matt. Like, he's gonna be like, oh, it's my fault. Right? It's like, we don't need that again.
Yeah. I don't think Muse is dead, Eric says.
I think he's dead. He's pretty dead.
He got shot pretty good, and Fisk took credit for it, too. Good. The only way, and I've seen the next 2 episodes, so this is me just spitballing. The only way Muse could be alive is if Fisk somehow saw value in him and chose to fake his death and take credit for the task force stopping him, and felt like he might need Muse down the line. Yeah. So, as Sick points out, Muse got shot 3 times. Yeah, that's true. So my theory there, a little far-fetched. But for the sake of Eric, I think it was, who is convinced that Muse is still alive, I'll indulge you. Kirsten's getting fed up with all the secrets. I mean, it's just, I really enjoy how, as this season has gone on and Matt has leaned into wanting to be Daredevil, everything around him is unraveling. I really do enjoy that. From Kirsten to Heather to all these things. And I think Heather getting caught in it is the perfect example of it, building up too much and unraveling too much, that somebody he loves is directly in danger. And at the same time, Fisk is going through the same thing. just
I will
not
say
in
one
danger.
thing about this show that I don't think is doing as well as the original show is like when it comes to Kirsten and Heather, like oh, are they gonna find out? I don't really care. Whereas like Foggy and Karen, it's like when's it gonna happen? Like when somebody's like gets outed, their superhero powers get outed. Like one of my favorite scenes in television history is when Buffy's mom finds out she's the Slayer. And in this show, I'm just like, I don't care if any of these people find out, and if they do, it's not going to be an emotional punch. It's like I don't personally care about these relationships like I did with Foggy and Karen. And that's coming from someone who is not a hyper huge fan of that show. I'm like, I can't even imagine what like the diehards are feeling about these people.
Yeah. My criticism of the show is that the action has not reached the heights of the Netflix show. That's where I think the shortcoming is. Like this fight with Muse, and I talked to David Boyd about it, and he was an excellent interview. And everybody who's watched it, I appreciate you. When you're done here, go give it a listen. It's like 12 minutes long, and he talks about a lot of the stuff that went into this episode. But I asked him, I said about you're filming Daredevil action in the middle of the day in broad daylight. We can like see the details on his suit. We're not used to that. And he said for that reason is why they kind of tried to keep it choppy and stop your eyes from really catching anything, which it works. I tried to catch a screenshot from that action scene to make a good thumbnail, and you just can't. There just isn't a good, clear thumbnail of either of them really from the action scene. To me, that I understand the intention. I think it is genuinely, he's not lying. I think that's the intention. But if this was Netflix, that could have been a 6-minute one shot with incredible choreography and just tearing down the therapist's office. So
I do think like the action has been more intentional. Like when we do get it, like him like breaking the one bank robber's knee in episode 5, like it was so out of pocket when he's just like fully like leaping and putting all of his body weight into breaking that guy's leg. I think the scrappiness and him kind of like getting back on the horse of getting to be a good fighter again is an interesting story beat. But I agree with you. Like they could almost be taking it even further than they already are.
Yeah. I like the question.
I'm so confused. I've never felt more disconnected from the discourse surrounding one of these projects in my life. I have to be honest. I don't understand. I don't know what people wanted. I'm really confused.
I feel like Aaron just like I have no strong feelings. I like what Aaron did, that they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm getting what I wanted out of this show in large part, but I'm still critical in some ways. Like I do think the action is the one thing that for me is missing the most. I like this question.
I do want to shout out when he hooked Muse, though. I did go.
That was crazy.
That was sick. That was really cool.
That was crazy. A lot of people referencing Mahoney. Would it have been better if Cherry was replaced with Mahoney from the original series? That would have been it would have just been a good callback if Mahoney ended up going from the role he had into this like playing into it in the law firm and all that, and was the one sitting at the bar given their history, Mahoney's history as a cop and working with Daredevil and everybody. I mean, sure, that would have only enriched it because that character has backstory. I like Cherry. I think Cherry's cool. And I like that conversation.
I feel like Cherry's going to have more to do in season 2 because if I remember correctly, the actor's also directing at least one of the episodes of season 2. So like because he's directed like Luke Cage and has done other television in that space before. So I almost feel like it might be a thing of like maybe more of the stuff we would have seen of him by now got like lost in the shuffle when they creatively retooled the show. And like hopefully in season 2 we just get even more of his character because I do like him when we see him, like especially with the Hector trial. Like I loved him kind of helping out in that capacity.
Yeah. Sorry, what was I going to say here? Let me get back to the notes. This is the episode where Cherry and Matt have a conversation in this episode where Matt comes off pretty cocky, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. When he said, "You used to call me," but I love that line. That line specifically would have hit harder if it was Mahoney, for sure.
Yeah.
But it works. It works all the same. Is there hate against Cherry? Dakota saying she sees hate against Cherry. Is there hate on Cherry?
There, like a lot of people online are just like, oh, he's pointless. He hasn't really done anything. Like he could have been replaced by somebody from the original series. But like, yeah, I think there's a story there. I don't know. I think we just don't have the full picture. I don't know.
My boy was very.
It was never going to be Jessica Jones. Like, I like Cherry.
He found Nikki Torres in those first 2 episodes.
Exactly.
The witness, and has been in like the ear to the streets for Matt. And he's chill with Matt being Daredevil, kind of. He hasn't told anybody the secret. So,
I love the comments about him needing to pull up a little bit. When he dusted Cherry off of that conversation at the end, when he did his own personal John Cena burying him, I was like, you need to calm down, sir. You need to pull up a little bit.
Matt for real did say like, oh, you don't want me to be Daredevil? Well, listen here. You used to call Daredevil when you needed help. Don't you forget about it. Don't you forget about it. You needed me. I don't need you. It's like, oh, Matt, you do. That's the thing, though. You do need him.
Yeah, you do.
Don't get too cocky, Matty. I know you pull. Don't get cocky. Anyway, all right. Anything else we want to talk about from this episode? Comment section. Now's your chance.
I do like the fake news angle. I like that they're kind of like having BB be a part of the show in the way of like, hey, I know you reported on this narrative, but now we're going to push a completely different one. I think that that's an interesting progression of all of that, especially given how some people feel about the BB reports. I think that was a cool way to kind of weave her in.
Yeah. BB reports.
Not about none this week. Not about this episode, but I just want you all to know that We Built This City has not left my head.
Same.
It has been stuck in my head for a while.
There's another real life comparison Easter egg when they said like we are the thin dark line. Like it's obviously a reference, like the thin blue line, the back the blue side of politics. That is just a mirror of our real world, which we're seeing through the political and different elements of Daredevil Born Again. Sort of, I'd say indirectly, but they're pretty direct parallels to what's going on. But yeah, no, okay, 10 time. Jamie.
I'm gonna give this one a 7.8.
7.8. Let me get my quackalator. 7.8. Jenna, what you thinking?
I'm gonna say 7.5.
Okay. Aaron, where you at?
Oh, I'm probably gonna go at like a 7.5. And Jesus, if you have any hesitancy toward blood, be careful out there, folks.
Comment section. Now's your chance to drop your 10 score for episode 7 of Daredevil Born Again. My score on this one, I'm going to agree with Jenna and Aaron. I'm going to say 7.5 as well, which puts us
generous. Why am I the highest?
It's always whoever goes first always goes way too high or way too low and then feels awkward about it. So you're fine.
I'm keeping it.
I would say 7.
I live my truth.
I'm at a 0.4, 0.5. I'll go 0.5 just to not be different from everybody, which puts us at a 7.57, which will come out to 7.6 average for the episode. I think that's fair. This was a good episode, not great. We all kind of seem to be on the same page. Comment section is right about there. A couple people higher than all of us. Misha's got an 8.5. Brandon Moore, 7.6. Sick, 7.4. Nolvi, 7. Dylan gives it an 8.2. Nyla with the lowest score so far with a 6.8. Timex, 7. Tiptoe Cloud, 7.6. Dakota, 8.4. Loved it. 7.9 from Andrew, 7.5 from Brad, 8.5 from Josh with the Superman profile picture, Steve T, 7.9, Langley with an 8. Daredevil episode 7 kicked ass, highest number here, Michael Walters with a 9. All right, so yeah, we're all pretty much in that same 7 to 9 range. Nobody's really low, nobody's really high. We had one 6 point something, but for the most part, pretty close on this one. Yeah, that's our show today, everybody. Jamie, any last words for today's Daredevil Born Again, episode 7, the review and discussion?
Yeah, a few things. First of all, if you still want to hear people talk about this, I have to plug the fact that Tony, my man, was on Agents of Fandom talking about this episode. So go check that out. Also,
Tony's becoming a star.
I know. I think this is my last episode for 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm bringing my stuff to Japan. I'm stressed about the amount of things I can pack to Japan. I'm really sad that I potentially can't talk about these last 2 episodes, so I'm going to see, but this might be the last you see from me for 2 weeks. Don't think I hate Fate's Hero. That's not what's happening. I'm just packing light for a very extreme voyage. And then finally, we have to. I do feel guilty because BD would never ever not bring his shit across the world. That's the difference between us. I have to pay tribute to Val Kilmer, of course. I'm sure every single person that is watching this live has seen Batman Forever. So I'm going to say, if you haven't seen Heat, today's the day. Go watch Heat. It's one of the greatest films of all time, and Val gives an incredible supporting performance in that film.
I didn't say it. The comment section did.
You're killing me.
We love you, Jamie. We love you.
Jenna, what you got to close us out?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics. There are plenty of good comics out today. Absolute Green Lantern #1 is out, so definitely go pick that up if you've been following the Absolute line thus far. And go subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is at Go Read Some Comics. I put out a video yesterday talking about the Brand New Day Spider-Man subtitle and kind of how that could or could not connect to the comic storyline of the same name. So if you watched this stream on Monday night and wanted to know more, I kind of organized all of my thoughts in that video.
Aaron?
Oh boy, it's Summer Lake Corner across all platforms. It's at like How to Watch Free TV on Instagram. I got a new episode coming out. I think like tomorrow. Tomorrow's not Wednesday. Today Wednesday.
Today is Wednesday.
Tomorrow it is Thursday. Awesome. And it's Jenna is our first guest. So if you want to hear Jenna talk about things that maybe aren't comics, but also some comics, let's be real. Let's be serious. You can come on over there. We're discussing that. I'll have some Val Kilmer Rex up today too, because Pluto TV is running a marathon of his work over on their trending tab. So
Movie Nights, thank you for the 10. Excellent show as always. Thanks for all that you do. You said thank you so much for the $10 super chat there. As we wrap up, thank you for that, my friend. That's our show. I'm supposed to go to CinemaCon tomorrow. I'm still just like, oh gosh, that flight to Vegas and the whole day, and then all of it. It's a long. I don't know. Streaming has been fun. I appreciate everybody who's been part of the streams and helped me grow the channel with all that. So I don't know. I probably said the same thing on Monday. We'll see, but. That's our show, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody listening in podcast form. We'll see you on Monday. I also don't know if I'm going to be around for that Daredevil finale episode. We might just have to figure something out because I will be. Well, I certainly won't because I'll literally be on the plane. It's like a 16-hour flight to Tokyo. So we're going to have to figure out when we're going to get our Daredevil review and discussion out. There will be a Daredevil director debrief with Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson, in which I'm also, of course, going to ask about season 2 and all sorts of stuff like that. So that'll be available to supplement you missing us that night if we can't figure something out. I don't think United Airlines Wi-Fi is that good that I can do it from the plane. But you bet your ass if I can. I will be live from my plane seat, and I will make the person next to me hear all the Daredevil spoilers. Okay, I'll figure it out. Play our show for your dad, play it for your cat. Everybody have yourself a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye.